Everyone deserves a gentle moment in their day, and this might just be yours. Today's story touches on something small that can crack a family bond wide open. Stay until the end of this video to see if you choose peace at work or harmony with your in-laws. Hey, you doing okay? If you're feeling worn out, let this tale spark some reflection and ease your heart. Hey, listener, you're about to step into a story where a small space in a home becomes a big battleground for balance and boundaries. I'm Ethan, 35, a programmer living with my wife, Rachel, 34, in a 2-bedroom apartment on the outskirts of Seattle. We're a child-free couple, both working hard, our life a blend of love and routine. But when my need for a proper workspace clashed with Rachel's family visits, our cozy setup started to fray. What began as a practical fix at home office sparked a tension that would test our partnership. Let's dive in where the trouble started brewing. Rachel and I have been married 7 years, settled in a quiet suburb with views of evergreen hills. Our apartment's modest, but our open-plan living. Soft light, a balcony for morning coffee. I've worked from home full-time for 2 years, coding for a tech startup, while Rachel, a marketing coordinator, splits her time between an office and remote calls. We're a team, splitting chores and bills. Our evenings filled with takeout and Netflix. No kids, just us, building a life we love, though her parents' frequent visits always shake things up. The second bedroom was our wild card. Early on, we used it as a guest room, mostly for Rachel's parents, Linda and Greg, who live 3 hours away in Olympia. They'd visit every couple of months, staying a weekend, sometimes a week, their suitcases and chatter filling the space. I liked them lined as warm. Greg's handy with stories, but their stays meant I lost my workspace. As a programmer, I need focus, but I'd end up coding on the sofa, laptop wobbling, or at the dining table, dodging crumbs. My back ached, my deadlines slipped, and stress crept in, my productivity tanking with each visit. Rachel saw it too. "You can't keep working like this," she said one night, after I'd spent hours hunched over the coffee table. We brainstormed and agreed. The guest room would become my office. We transformed it on a budget: $200 for a sleek desk, $300 for an ergonomic chair, plus monitors and a noise-canceling headset. I painted the walls a calm gray, added a plant, made it mine. The change was instant. I hit coding sprints without neck pain, finished projects early, even had energy to cook dinner. Rachel was thrilled, calling it your coder cave. At 35, I finally felt in control, my work-from-home life clicking into place. The office wasn't just about work, it was my sanity. 2 years of sofa coding had worn me down, my focus frayed by makeshift setups. Now, with the door to close, I could mute the world, dive into code, and still be present for Rachel after hours. We agreed the room was mine full-time, though we'd squeeze in an air mattress for rare guests. It felt like a win for us both, a nod to our shared priority, making our home work for our careers and our marriage. Linda and Greg hadn't visited in months, so the shift seemed seamless. Then, last week, Rachel got a call from her mom. I was debugging code when she walked in, phone in hand, her face a mix of warmth and worrying. "Mom and Dad are coming next weekend," she said. "They'll stay a few days." Like usual, my stomach dropped. "Okay," I said, forcing a smile. "But the office?" Rachel paused, then shrugged. "We'll figure it out. Maybe you can work in the living room for a bit." Her tone was casual, but it hit like a brick. The living room, back to the sofa, the table, the chaos that had nearly broken me. My office, my haven, was suddenly on the chopping block. I didn't push back right away, not wanting to seem selfish. Linda and Greg were family, and Rachel loved their visits, wine nights with her mom, Greg's bad puns. But the thought of dismantling my workspace, even for a few days, gnawed at me. I'd built it to solve a real problem: work, my health, and now it felt like a sacrifice for their comfort. At 35, I wasn't just fighting for a desk. I was fighting for my place in our home. My needs weighed against Rachel's loyalty to her parents. Why was my work the one to bend? The tension simmered, unspoken, Rachel hummed, planning meals for her parents, while I stared at my office door, dreading the moment I'd have to pack it up. Our apartment, our sanctuary, was starting to feel like a negotiation, and I wasn't sure how to speak up without sparking a fight. Rachel's love for her family was real, but so was my need for stability. Something had to give, and I feared it'd be me. Listener, Ethan's hard-won workspace is at risk, and Rachel's family ties are pulling strings. Can they find balance? Or will his needs take a backseat? Stay with Metha's stories about to dig into the cost of compromise in love and family. Ethan's newfound office in their Seattle apartment was a lifeline for his work-from-home life. At 35, a programmer, he transformed the spare bedroom into a haven of focus, with Rachel, 34, his marketing coordinator wife, fully on board. But when Rachel's parents, Linda and Greg, planned their usual visit, the office purpose clashed with their expectation of a guest room. Ethan dreaded returning to suffocating chaos, and Rachel's attempt to balance family and his needs sparked a firestorm of pushback, putting their marriage under strain. What started as a practical issue was now a family feud, with Ethan caught between guilt and resolve. Rachel took the lead, calling her parents to set expectations. "Mom, Dad, just a heads up," she said, voice steady but nervous. "The spare room's Ethan's office now. He needs it for work, even while you're here." She offered a solution. "We'll book you an Airbnb nearby. All expenses on us. You'll have your own space, and we can still hang out dinners, outings, whatever you want." It was generous, thoughtful, a way to keep everyone comfortable. Ethan, listening from his desk, felt a wave of gratitude. Rachel was standing up for his needs while honoring her parents' visit. The response was icy. Linda's voice crackled through the phone, sharp with sarcasm. "What? We need to book an appointment to stay at our daughter's house now." Greg, usually jovial, was blunt. "A desk is more important than family." "That's what you're saying." Rachel tried to explain things. Job demanded focus, video calls, a real workspace, but Linda cut her off. "We've always stayed with you. This feels like we're not welcome." The call ended abruptly, Rachel's face pale, her hands trembling as she set down the phone. Ethan's relief turned to dread. His office, his necessity, had just lit a match. Rachel was torn, caught in a tug-of-war between her roles as daughter and wife. Growing up, she'd been the peacemaker, always smoothing her parents' edges. Linda's neediness, Greg's quick temper. Their visits were her way of staying close, recreating the warmth of her childhood home. Now, for the first time, they felt pushed out, and Rachel bore the brunt. "They're acting like we're banishing them," she told Ethan, voice tight. "Mom said she feels like a stranger. I get why you need the office, but this hurts them." Ethan's heart sank. Hated seeing her caught in the middle, his choice the wedge. Guilt gnawed at Ethan. At 35, he prided himself on being a supportive husband, not the guy who sparked family drama. "Maybe I can make the sofa work," he offered, but the thought made his stomach churn. His job wasn't forgiven. Coding required deep focus, and video calls with his team meant no background chaos. 2 years of makeshift setups had left him stressed, his performance slipping, his body aching. The office wasn't a luxury, it was survival. Still, Linda's sarcasm, Greg's anger, echoed in his head. Was he being selfish, putting a desk over family? Rachel's strained expression said he might be. That night, they talked, raw and honest, in their dimly lit living room. "I don't want you to lose your parents," Ethan said, voice low. "But I can't go back to working on the couch. It's not just discomfort, it's my job. My mental health. I'm barely keeping up as it is." Rachel nodded, eyes tired. "I know. I pushed for the office too. It's just they've never been told no before. They're used to that room, to being part of our home." She paused, voice softening. "This is the first time they feel like we're shutting them out." Mom cried. "Ethan, she never cries." The weight of her words hit hard. Rachel wasn't just navigating logistics, she was carrying her family's emotional baggage. Ethan saw her struggle to honor her parents' love while defending his space. "What if we compromise?" he suggested. "They stay here, but I keep the office during work hours. We can set up the living room for them at night. Rachel shook her head. They'd still feel sidelined, and you'd be distracted, tiptoeing around. The Airbnb was the best I could offer, but they see it as rejection. The conversation ended without a fix, both feeling the strain. Ethan lay awake, replaying Greg's words, a desk-over family. It wasn't that simple. His work was their livelihood, his office their stability. But to Linda and Greg, it was personal, a sign they weren't priority. Rachel, curled beside him, was quiet, her loyalty split. For the first time, their marriage felt like a balancing act, his needs pitted against her family's expectations. At 35, Ethan wondered if protecting his space meant losing the harmony they'd built. The visit loomed, and the silence from Rachel's parents grew louder. Ethan's office, once a haven, now felt like a line in the sand, dividing their home. Rachel's love for him was clear, but so was her pain, and he couldn't shake the fear that his stand might cost more than a weekend. Listener, Ethan's office is a battleground, and Rachel's caught between love and loyalty. Can they stand firm, or will family pressure crack their unity? Stay with Metha's stories about to face the true cost of boundaries in a marriage. Ethan and Rachel's Seattle apartment was a battleground over a converted office, pitting Ethan's work from home needs against her parents' expectations. At 35, Ethan, a programmer, had turned their spare bedroom into a vital workspace, supported by Rachel, 34. But her parents, Linda and Greg, bristled when told they'd need an Airbnb for their visit, seeing it as a rejection. Rachel's attempt to balance family and Ethan's career sparked tension, leaving Ethan guilty yet resolute. Now, with the visit nearing, he faced a choice: hold his ground or yield to family tradition, knowing the cost either way. Ethan couldn't budge on the office. His job coding, video calls, tight deadlines demanded focus, and sofa working had nearly broken him before. But Rachel's strain, caught between him and her parents' hurt, weighed heavy. He decided to reach out directly, drafting an email to Linda and Greg. "I'm sorry if this feels like we're pushing you away," he wrote, voice sincere. "You're always welcome here. My office is about keeping my work stable, which supports our home. We're covering an Airbnb nearby so you have space, and I'll be all yours evenings and weekends, dinners, hikes, whatever you want." He hit send, heart pounding, hoping honesty would bridge the gap. The reply came a day later, curt but civil. "We'll take the Airbnb," Linda wrote. "We just thought family came first." Greg added a line, "Hope your desk's worth it." The words stung, their chill clear even through text. Ethan felt the jab his office cast as selfishness, not necessity. Yet, after a tense few days, they agreed to the plan, booking a cozy rental 10 minutes away. Rachel exhaled, relieved the visit wasn't canceled, but the distance lingered. Her parents' calls with her were shorter, their warmth dimmed, and Ethan couldn't shake the guilt of being the wedge. Reflection hit Ethan hard. At 35, he questioned his stand. Was he wrong to prioritize work over Rachel's family tradition? Linda and Greg had always stayed in their home, their visits a cornerstone of Rachel's connection to her roots. Disrupting that felt like betraying her. Yet his office wasn't a whim, it was his livelihood, his mental health. The modern grind demanded boundaries, but family ties, especially in-laws, carried weight he hadn't fully grasped. He loved Rachel's loyalty to her parents, but wondered why his needs seemed negotiable, his space the first to give. Rachel, too, was navigating the fallout. "I get why you need the office," she told Ethan, her voice soft but firm. "But Mom and Dad feel like they're losing me, like our home and there's any more." Ethan nodded, seeing her torn heart. They agreed to make the visit warm dinners at their place, a day trip to Pike Place Market. The undercurrent remained. Ethan's office stood, but at a cost. Family harmony, Rachel's ease, a piece of their shared peace. He wondered if he'd drawn the line too hard, or if boundaries were the only way to survive a world pulling them in all directions. The visit came and went. Linda and Greg were polite, joining for meals, but their usual warmth, Linda's long hugs, Greg's loud stories, was muted. Ethan worked in his office by day, joining them after hours, but the Airbnb felt like a wall, a reminder of the rift. Rachel smiled through it, playing host, but Ethan saw her strain, her glances at her parents heavy with unspoken apologies. At night, alone in their bedroom, they held each other, both knowing this was a new chapter on where family and personal needs would need clear lines. Ethan sat in his office one evening, monitors dark, the silence loud. He'd kept his space, his focus, but the victory was bittersweet. He learned boundaries were essential, but so was family, and balancing them was a dance he was still learning. His marriage was intact, Rachel by his side, but the question lingered: had he chosen right, or just chosen himself? So, listener, thanks for staying with me. Ethan's held his ground, but the family's warmth has cooled. If you were Ethan, would you guard your quiet workspace or yield for family's sake? In a fast-moving world, can personal boundaries and tradition coexist? Share bellow whim all ears. And if you're juggling work and family, remember, love thrives on compromise, but not at the cost of your needs. Keep listening, life's full of moments that test where we draw the line.